Chapter 29. The Tower. The tower was hidden away in a valley with a lovely waterfall and surrounded by mountains and a river on three sides. Though low in the valley, it was often drenched in sunlight, and the lands were bursting with greenery. It was a happy, tranquil place, an unlikely hiding spot for the queen of the dead, but that was exactly what it had been very long ago. Gothel had learned about the tower in one of her mother's journals. It wasn't far from the dead woods, which now stood in ruins and were completely deserted, considered to be haunted. Haunted by the old queen of the dead and her many minions. Wild tales spread throughout the surrounding lands and became more elaborate as the years passed. It was still a mystery how the soldiers had been able to breach the enchanted thicket all those years ago. It was rumored that the king had employed a very powerful witch to break the enchantment, but to that day, the sordid tale was still veiled in mystery and speculation. Gothel hadn't even thought of the enchantment at the time. She just took Jacob's advice and fled. She wondered what would have happened to her and her sisters if she had insisted the soldiers wouldn't be able to enter. She wondered a lot of things. But that was another lifetime ago, she thought. Gothel sighed. This was her life now, traveling between the tower and her country house, checking on the sleeping Rapunzel and then going back home to check on her sisters. Back and forth, hither and thither, never staying in either place for long. If she had, she would have had time to think about the ruins of her life and how she'd failed her sisters. Now her entire focus was on bringing them back to life and keeping herself young so she could. Even though the odd sisters had given Gothel an enchanted mirror for the tower and one for her pocket, she still made the trip to see that her flower was safe and to use the healing powers to keep herself young. She still resented the queen for having eaten the flower when she was ill and doing the same when she feared for the life of her unborn child. Stupid woman. Gothel wouldn't have had to take their child if the queen had just used the flower properly, but now the child was infused with the flower's magic and was the only living source of its power. It had been almost 10 years since Gothel and the odd sisters brought Rapunzel and her pet, Pascal, to the tower. These days, Gothel couldn't go for long without using the flower. Within a day, she would start to age dramatically. She had no idea how the odd sisters stayed so young without the help of the flower, and wondered if they had actually taken her mother's blood, like she had suspected so many years ago. Rapunzel and Pascal were living in a dream world created by the odd sisters, in which the princess spent her days painting a beautiful mural with paints made from white seashells that her mother thoughtfully procured for her from far off places. She played hide and seek with Pascal, did her chores like a good daughter, read stories, played music, baked pies, brushed her exceedingly long hair, did puzzles, and baked even more pies. She filled her days with frivolity and distractions. It was a happy sort of life, for the most part. As the years passed in the real world, Gothel saw the mural on the wall growing, becoming more elaborate. As Rapunzel painted it in her dream, it appeared in reality on the walls, filling the tower with Rapunzel's hopes and aspirations. The odd sisters' enchantments made her dreams a reality, and the odd sisters gave Rapunzel free will within her dreams to do and feel and think as she pleased, including a desire to see the lights that appeared in the sky on her birthday, which concerned Gothel. If the dream isn't real, the dreamer finds a way out, Lucinda had said when Gothel asked why Rapunzel should know about the lanterns that were released every year on her birthday. Gothel took Lucinda's word. She was, after all, a very powerful witch, and knew more about those things than Gothel did. The years dragged on as Rapunzel slept, and Rapunzel's mural took up more space until there was no room left in which to paint. There wasn't a wall that wasn't splashed with color, with the young girl's wish for a life of her own, and every time Gothel went back to the tower and saw a new addition to the mural, it sent terror through her soul. This day was no different. Gothel tethered her horse on the edge of the dead woods. No one dared to go to the dead woods, even now, after all those years. The ruins stood undisturbed. For all she knew, she might be one of its many specters. And in a sense, she was. As she made her way to the tower, one thought consumed her mind. Tomorrow is Rapunzel's birthday. It's almost been 10 years. And during those years her hair had grown longer and longer, long enough to bring Gothel's sisters back from the dead. Gothel intended to go in through her secret entrance at the tower. This visit wouldn't be like the others, a quick song for Rapunzel to make herself young again and right back to her sisters. This time, she'd stay and make the preparations for the ceremony while she waited for the odd sisters to take Primrose's and Hazel's bodies in their flying house to the tower. Gothel stopped on the path leading to the cave entrance that took her to the valley where the tower was located. She took her hand mirror out of her pocket. "Show me the sisters," she said while looking into the mirror. Her face was worn and her hair was starting to gray. Within a few hours, she would be withered. "Yes, Gothel?" said Lucinda from the mirror. "Tomorrow is the flower's birthday," said Gothel, almost giddy. "Yes, we know, Gothel," said Lucinda. Gothel didn't understand why Lucinda seemed so unaffected by something they'd all been waiting for. "We agreed to do the ceremony again in 10 years' time. I need your help." "Gothel, we can't help you. We're trapped in the dreamscape." "What? Why? How did it happen?" asked Gothel, panicked. She didn't even fully understand how the dreamscape worked. "You can't get out?" "No. Not even Circe can break the evil fairy's spell." "What am I going to do?" Gothel said over and over, paying little mind to Lucinda's confused look and not even bothering to ask how they were. "What is she going to do? What is she going to do?" Gothel could hear Ruby and Martha in the background before Lucinda answered. "Sisters, quiet. I have something very important to tell Gothel." All the sisters laughed. "Yes, Lucinda, tell her. Tell her." "What is it?" snapped Gothel, already annoyed with the odd sisters. "Well, Gothel, you should know. The sleeping spell we put on Rapunzel is broken. She is awake," Lucinda said from her magic mirror with a wicked look of satisfaction on her face. "Awake? How? How do you know?" Gothel said, straining to see her up in the tower through the cave. "We see everything, Gothel. She thinks it's just like any other day, the day her mother comes home with the shopping. But today she plans to ask you if she can finally go see the lights that appear in the sky every year on her birthday." "I told you we shouldn't have included that in her dream, you stupid witch," snapped Gothel. "Don't you snap at me, old woman," screeched Lucinda. "How dare you?" screamed Gothel. "How dare us? How dare us? Did you let us use your little flower to heal our friend? No, you hoarded it. You threw us out of your house. But I promised to give the girl to you once I was finished with her. I promised you could do with her what you would as soon as my sisters were brought back. Don't do this. What will Circe think of your meddling with another princess?" "Well, it's too late for all that now, Gothel. Maleficent is dead, and we may be trapped in the dreamscape forever if Circe doesn't stop being angry with us. So now you can deal with this on your own. You are destined to be alone, Gothel." Her mother's words rang in her ears. Gothel took a deep breath. "I will. I will deal with Rapunzel and wake my sisters on my own. Watch from your mirror if you like, and see for yourself." Gothel almost chucked the mirror in anger. "Yeah, good luck with that. And by the way, I don't think Circe will mind if my sisters and I help the missing princess," said Lucinda, cackling before the mirror turned black. Gothel grumbled as she made her way to the tower. "Gods, I'm going to have to actually talk to this girl. What are we going to talk about?" She heard the odd sisters laughing from the mirror in her pocket. "So this is how I'm to spend my days, in torment of these impossible witches and making a pretense of being this girl's mother." Gothel ignored the sisters and kept grumbling to herself. Okay, okay. Rapunzel thinks this is just any other day. You can do this, Gothel. You can make this brat believe you're her mother. Just pretend you like her. After all, you are her mother, the only mother she has ever known. Finally, she reached the tower. She stood beneath the open window and called up to her flower, trying her best to sound sweet, trying to act like this was any other day in Rapunzel's dream life. She needed to sound like a mother. She needed to sound convincing. She needed to sound real. "Rapunzel, let down your hair." She hated the way her voice sounded, even as she was saying the words. "Rapunzel, I'm not getting any younger down here," she sang out. "Coming, mother," called Rapunzel from the tower. Gothel could hear the odd sisters laughing again from the mirror in her pocket. "Shut up, you stupid witches, she's coming." Gothel gasped when she saw Rapunzel's hair cascade down the tower. It was longer than she thought. longer than it had looked when it was gathered around her while she slept, long enough to wrap around my sisters and bring them back to life.